Hello, Hashgraph community. Welcome back to Hash Out. My name is Jim Gao. Today is Sunday, September 29th, 2019. And a disclaimer, I'm not an employee at Hedera, so everything I express here is strictly my personal opinion. Last night, the price of Hbar went down again, and I picked up some more. And some people might be asking, aren't you a developer? Aren't you building your dApp on Hashgraph? Why do you spend so much time talking about the Hbar price? Well, I do think the price of Hbar is very important to the health of Hedera, the organization, because it directly relates to the ability of the organization of raising capital in the future. It's just like, when any company that goes public, whether you're talking about Facebook or Uber, how the price of the IPO on the IPO day and also the subsequent days and weeks is very important. That is why these companies, they hire investment banks like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley to bring their securities to the public market. And the reason for that is these investment banks, they're very well capitalized. Not only they have the brand attraction, they're very well capitalized. And during the first days of trading of the stock, of the IPO, they could provide an artificial floor, a support to the price of the IPO, so that a company like Uber will have a really good start in the capital markets, and that will further enhance the ability of these companies of raising fresh capital in the future. And same thing with cryptocurrencies too. I view these offering of trading of these tokens just like an IPO of a traditional company, except you don't have Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley as your underwriter. Who are the underwriters? It's really just the communities, you and I, the small people. We are the decentralized underwriters for these decentralized projects. And that is why I believe the community is so much important, to the success and longevity of a decentralized project like Hedera. And especially when you consider that, when an Uber goes public, they already have a revenue stream. Of course, they might not be making money, they might be losing money, but they already have revenue, money coming in. But for the majority of the decentralized crypto projects, they don't have money coming in. So the only way for them to raise capital is through their cryptocurrencies. Therefore, if the price of the cryptocurrency is depressed for a long time, it will hinder the project's ability of raising fresh capital. And as far as I know, Hedera doesn't have a revenue stream yet. And last round, they were able to raise $120 million from SAFs in 2018. But just because you were able to raise $122 million in 1 year, it doesn't mean that you will have this ability every single year for the next 10 years. I think sometimes in business, you must hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Because, I don't know what's the operational expense of Hedera as a company. I know they have close to 100 employees all over the world. And it's a big overhead. If I have to guess, it's probably between $10 to $20 million a year. So yes, even you do have $122 million in the bank. And on the surface, you can probably sustain operation for at least 6 to 10 years. But you have to consider that your margin of error is going to be very thin. If you make blunders, it'll be hard to recover because you can't raise fresh capital. It's hard, if the Hbar price is a quarter of the last round's price, it'll be hard to attract new capital into your endeavor. So, your room of maneuvering is limited. And also you have to consider the possibility that let's say if the price of Hbars drops down to a penny, and it might be prudent for the company to spend some of the cash reserve to buy back Hbars to provide this artificial support, for the Hbar price, because you don't want to get into this vicious cycle that the more Hbar loses its value, the more it will damage your capability of raising capital, and it just goes round and round. That's not a good scenario, of course. So the price is important, especially for tech companies, even for traditional tech companies that have revenue. But it's especially important, I think, for decentralized projects, for crypto projects. It's not that the tech is not important. It's not that the team is not important. The vision is not important. No, but if you ask many entrepreneurs, the number one reason for a company to fail, by far, is the breaking of the capital chain. The capital chain, how well you're able to raise capital, that is critical to the survival and the longevity of a company. And in crypto, like we said, it's directly related to the price. Therefore, I think it's very prudent, I think, for Hedera to conserve cash at this moment, because you really have to hope for the best but prepare for the worst. Let's say you cannot raise additional money in the next 5 years, and because every time if you want to sell your cryptocurrency on the market, you will further erode the price, and that's not the right way to raise capital. Even if you try to get loans from banks and use Hbars as collateral, they will want to see that you're generating revenue first and hopefully a profit first. If the platform itself is not generating either revenue or profit, it'll be hard to get debt, to ask for a loan from the bank. So it's extremely important, I think, for people, for the community, for the team to understand the Hbar price is critical to the success of the project. And I don't know about other projects, of course, but we are building exclusively our DEX on Hashgraph. So if Hashgraph fails, we will fail. And a note on conserving cash, I think it's prudent, I think, to think where you want to invest your cash, spend your money at this time. And I would say that it's much more important to use the cash to build a good product than for marketing. I think marketing is important, yes, for any business, but it's only important when you have a very solid, good product to market. Recently I still see advertisement on some of the websites on Hedera, on CoinMarketCap, for example, that website. I don't know how much it costs, but I'm sure it's not free. And meanwhile, there are features of the current products coming from Hedera that probably needs more attention, such as the wallet of Hedera that has people had been requesting to have this feature to know from whom the Hbar was being sent, and this feature was being demanded for several months and still hasn't been implemented. So it's something that probably the team can pay more attention to, is that the marketing is only as good as your product, right? It's kind of like the iPhone. If the iPhone is not a solid product, then it doesn't matter how much money you put into advertisement, it's not going to help. Actually, it's going to probably do damage, because if it's defective, then the more people you draw to your product, the more they use it, the more problems these people will see, and the less they will want to refer their friends and family to your product. And I think the best way of marketing is not ads, is word of mouth. They say that it usually takes at least 10 times the cost to attract a new customer to your business than the cost of maintaining an old customer. Let's say that if you have a product that's not 100, that has a lot of problems, you can spend $1 million creating ads, marketing this, or you can spend 1/10 of the money building up, fixing all the flaws. And when the old customers, the current community, us, we use it and it looks great. When developers use the SDK and there are no bugs, everything runs smoothly, we're able to develop, very enhanced dApps using the SDK. Then we'll refer to our family and friends with confidence, saying that this is the future. If you want to start a business, start on Hashgraph. And that's the power of marketing. It's really word of mouth from the current customers, existing customers, not to attract the new customers. It's way too costly, and it's not as cost effective to get, to spend so much money on advertisement to attract new customers. That's just, my suggestion towards this. I'm not, I'm sure there are a lot more, the people there, they're much smarter than I am, and they know what they're doing. But it's just, but sometimes, there's an old Chinese saying that if you are involved in a chess game, sometimes you can see things as a third party, like an observer can see. Same thing goes here. Maybe sometimes you get involved in the operation of things and you lose some of the objectivity. So like if it's up to me, I would say I would not invest $1 on advertisement, on marketing. I will divert some of the funds to development. One thing is to come up with a more comprehensive wallet. Another is maybe it was my mistake. I misunderstood the OA announcement. I thought for some reason after OA, people should be able to create an account on the mainnet with no KYC. But it seems like right now newcomers still need KYC to get an account on the mainnet. So it's maybe there should be some kind of clarification on that, because I think the more exposure, the more people can set up the accounts on the mainnet and be able to send Hbars back and forth, play around with Hbars. That's the best advertisement, because they'll see how much more performance Hedera mainnet is compared to other cryptos like Bitcoin. Right now, of course, there are third-party wallets that can create new accounts, like hbarpricewallet.com. I never used it personally, but for those of you who want to, who might want to create a wallet or an account, you can go there, or our site, myhex.net. The DEX that we created also allows users to create accounts on the mainnet with a public and private key pair. I haven't really talked much about Hex yet. Mainly is because I don't think the product is ready, and I think it's a lot of responsibility if people put their funds, trading funds, onto our platform, and without knowing what the risk is. So I rather limit the exposure to the community. But if you just want to, experience how fast the network is, I'll leave a link. You can install the Chrome extension that we created and create your own account on the mainnet and sending Hbars back and forth. And you will see the difference, of how fast the transaction time is. And it's much better, I think, than then if you just buy a Hbar from Bittrex, from the exchanges and send them to another account, that's not gonna give you the feel of the performance. The delay from the exchanges to another exchange's wallet is very slow, minutes. But if you send it directly from wallet to wallet on the mainnet, it's just very fast, a fraction of a second. And I think once more people get exposed to that, they will become supporters of this platform. So that's why I think development, the product really has to come first, before marketing. And another initiative, is to develop the HCS SDK, and because I do believe that's the game changer in the decentralized space. I would even argue that, suggest that it's probably better to hire internationally, not limiting your hiring base only from the U.S., but look elsewhere, Argentina, and India and China, because for the cost of hiring one engineer from Silicon Valley, you can hire an entire team from Argentina or from China. And I know how sensitive the topic of outsourcing is, and especially in U.S., people don't like to talk about it because many people's jobs were adversely affected by outsourcing. But you have to understand, in a situation where that your avenue of raising capital is limited and cash is important, you want to find different kind of ways to save money, to save cash, to prepare yourself, and yes, you want to spend the money, but only at critical spots, at the ones that's going to generate the most good. And I believe right now, one of the biggest critical pieces of the puzzle is the HCS SDK, and you need a team of people to come up with a very comprehensive solution. Because my team and I, we've used the SDK, the current SDK from Hedera, and there is room for improvement, and but it's okay, because I believe that the HCS paradigm is going to replace the old smart contract paradigm, and as long as the team comes up with a stellar solution for HCS, that is going to be the game changer, and that is going to attract developers from different platforms to build on Hedera, and that's when you're going to see killer dApps being created and adopted on Hedera. So that is my main goal of this video, is to illustrate why cash is important for a company, why the price of the Hbar is very important, because it directly relates to the ability of the company raising capital in the future. And last point I want to talk about is I know that probably right now many people are praying for Hashgraph. There are many people out there praying for Hashgraph, and I want to say that yes, prayer is important, but equally as important is taking action. You can't just pray and hope that everything is going to turn out to be okay without acting, without actually doing the work. The doing the work part is very important. After all, we're not supposed to be praying in faith, right? We're supposed to be walking in faith and acting in faith. And I think acting itself is the critical piece. I think that's the problem with a lot of people, in the religious world, is that they just think that, oh, as long as I pray and, I don't have to do anything. No, I think we have to act. We have to act on our beliefs. We have to, and sometimes the problem preventing people from acting is fear. You don't know how your action will be received or perceived by other people. And it's scary, when the price is going down, it's scary to buy, when you're not sure how your message will be received by other people. It's hard to shoot a video, you know, and that is where the walking faith comes in, because that's really the difference between whether you believe in something or you're just paying lip service, and I think acting is really, really important in any project, in any endeavor. You have to act. So if you truly believe that Hashgraph is the future, you got to step up and act, not just say, I pray this project is going to do well, and leave it at that. You got to follow up your conviction with action. So that's all I have for today. Sorry for the rambling, but I will see you on the next video. Thank you.